I hate cable management. Hey there, everyone! It's me, Gamerturk, and we're back with another Hollow Realization stream. I think we made it up to floor 180 in the last stream, and things were actually starting to get slightly more challenging with the monsters slowly ramping up in their power. Not too challenging, but I remember we replaced Asuna with, yes, the random person Adam Belt that we have found in the Singularity Dungeon. And my plan for today, if I'm correct in assuming that last I made was 180, yes it was, we will be aiming straight for floor 200 this time around, give or take. It's now 5 to 7, let's say 7 PM. That gives me 2 hours until the SAO games go there, the mobile games go their daily reset at my 9 PM. I don't think I'm gonna take an entire hour for a 10 floor block. So if I can make it about 45 minutes per 10 block, I think we can even go for floor 210. All the while, as usual, I will be answering your questions, chatting with you in the chat, so very much relying on your chats here. Hey there, Lee, welcome. And that reminds me, I forgot to set up my super chat goal, which we always have in every single stream. If somehow it gets achieved, I'm gonna turn it into a drawing stream where I'll be drawing something you guys want, you guys vote for, preferably from SAO. And let me set this up. There we go. And of course, if we go into a drawing stream, I don't have a time limit on that. I'll just keep continuing. We'll see how that goes. How you doing, Lee? What's up? Now this week I have finally completed, oh that's small, a couple of us. This week I finally completed my Sword Online Gameverse soundtrack previews that are available on Spotify. It's a little 8-minute medley, let's say, for each of the SAO console games that I have published. This week I have published Illustration Licorice and Last Recollection, the final 2 games in the Sword Online Gameverse. And next week I will actually be starting up with the mobile games instead as the next project. Oh my god, that was actually very quick. So we're starting with Code Register. Then I believe I have Memory Defrag scheduled, Integral Factor, Unleash Blading, Illustration Rising Steel, whichever name you wanna go with, which I actually should decide which name I wanna go with. I can't put them all in the title. And last but not least, the Variant Showdown Spotify album preview as well. So hope you look forward to it. I know YouTube doesn't like it, but the other platforms, especially on my Twitter and Facebook, they have been performing really, really well, which makes me quite happy. I hope you guys enjoy it as well. Grind Cage the first. Grind Kage? Not sure if you want to be English or not. What do you believe is the best SAO game? I've only played Hollow Fragment on PC. Overall best SAO game, no matter what comes out, I keep coming back to... speaking of Gameverse, by the way, I am not gonna talk about Fractured Daydream, as I am kinda sorta boycotting that game until June 6th because of the DLC issues they have never acknowledged and just, you know, shoved under the rug, which I don't think was acceptable. So they ignored the fans for 16 business days. I am ignoring the game for the 16 business days after. I am gonna start talking about Fractured Daydream after June 6th. So all my answers when you ask about SAO games is going to be based on the Gameverse games instead. Plus Axel World vs SAO, I guess, but not much to mention about that beyond Lost Song. So, to answer your question, finally, with that disclaimer out of the way. In my opinion, the overall best game, I keep coming back to Hollow Realization. I think overall, the gameplay, the story, the character portrayals, the presentation, not so much the presentation, it's janky. But like presentation of the visual novels, the CG quality, the gallery image quality, and all those kind of stuff, I still think Hollow Realization is the best overall SAO game. There are things the other games do better, individual points here and there. I enjoy Illustration Licorice for certain things, I enjoy Last Recollection for other things, I enjoy, well, Lost Song for flying, I'll give credit for that. Fatal Bullet for its arcade shooter and all those kind of stuff, but overall best game, whenever someone asks me, it continues to be Hollow Realization. But if you're playing the gameverse in general, you're not just looking to a single game, what's the best game, then you should absolutely go through the chronological thing. So you started with Hollow Fragment, that is the correct one. Make sure you complete Hollow area story first, because it unlocks the true ending and certain additional events in the Aincrad side of it, in the Infinity Moment portion. And afterwards, after you get the true ending, it's time for Lost Song. After you complete Lost Song, it's time for Hollow Realization. After that, it's Fatal Bullet, Illustration Licorice, and eventually Last Recollection is what you will go for. And I just generally recommend following the chronology rather than aiming for a single best game. Because at the end of the day, they are games, yes, but let's be honest, they are story-driven games. They are meant to be more light novel style things where the gameplay is more secondary. They're nice games, don't get me wrong, especially Hollow Realization. As I said, I keep coming back to it because the gameplay is just snappy, it flows really nice, it's satisfactory. But overall, I'm mainly here for the story. I'm talking about myself, of course, but generally they are story-driven games as well. They are visual novels first. Oh, lucky me, that's the key right next to the teleporter. And games second, let's say. And some games really make it very obvious that their game nature is second place. I'm doing good as well, thank you for asking, Lee. Hey there, Polsky, welcome, welcome. Frosted Flame, welcome. Fatal Bullet is really enjoyable to pick up and play. I have to say, it absolutely has the worst story until DLC 4 comes around, and that's because DLC 4 actually adapted an existing light novel story into its setting. That's why it has a higher bar attached, and it shows. Otherwise, it's not really a game I go back to every once in a while. Like, not even every once in a while. Part of it is, it's not exactly my type of game. I think what they did with the arcade shooter looter style was quite good. And to be frank, there's actually not much like it on the market. Like, they took some nice lessons from the likes of Destiny and The Division back when they were at their prime. So they did a really good job emulating that looter feeling, but with their arcadey third-person shooter, it had a completely different feel even to The Division, which was third-person as well. Destiny was first-person, obviously. Do we have the key? We have the key. I can just go for the exit straight if I can find it. I think that's the end of the path. Oh, that's the exit, not the end of the path. I'm also not a huge fan of OCMCs. That's one of my main issues with Fatal Bullet. It had an OCMC and it has a terrible execution of an OCMC. Completely mute, everyone's trying to convince you that you have a personality when you obviously don't. You are just there to be an original Kirito in that story. You make no meaningful choices, you don't say a single thing, you don't have any opinions, you don't have any personality. it just rubs me the wrong way. Like, Integral Factor also has an original player character, and Integral Factor knows how to work with an original character. Sure, a lot of the talking for us is done by Koharu. The difference is Koharu, 1, she's actually likable, and 2, she does not shove down a personality down our throat. She keeps things. The writers of Integral Factor keep things very carefully in a very specific balance, where you can be the person you imagine you are. It doesn't show a fixed personality like Fatal Bullet does, saying, hey, you're Kirito but even luckier. Integral Factor just goes, hey, this is the story, you are clearly part of the story, this is your partner, she mostly speaks for you, but you are your own person, just imagine whoever you are, and the story just works, no matter which kind of persona you want to imagine you to be. I think that is the main thing Integral Factor accomplishes over something like Fatal Bullet. Fatal Bullet absolutely dropped the ball with the OCMC, not gonna lie. Oops. I wanted to interact with the chest. Feel bad for anyone having to play Lost Song and the one before Fractured Daydream? I don't feel bad. Like, Lost Song is absolutely not my favorite, but Lost Song is not a bad game. And it's plenty of people's favorite, actually. Sure, the story, not a huge fan of its story. It has problems from where I'm looking. But it is a nice, casual, chill game that you can go in and enjoy. Oh shit, that's an H&M actually. We are not gonna do that. It takes too much time. We have the key, right? We just need to find the exit. Is there anything shiny on that path? No. Need to go for the chests. Nothing is there, nothing is there. Oh boy, this path is continuing. Good, good. I thought I was at a dead end. That wouldn't be nice. And you said the one before Fractured Daydream, Last Recollection. Last Recollection is a great game. The only reason why some people think it is not is because a certain hardcore community who wants to play games as a job, like as if the game is their job, found no repeatable content in Last Recollection. And Last Recollection also got its combat inspired by the general player feedback on Alsatian Licorice. So it was streamlined to a certain extent, simplified to a certain extent. So when those casual players were able to do better, when that skill floor was brought up, that's not good for the hardcore players. What happened is, they also decided to completely ignore the skill ceiling and acted like that baseline was their limit. They acted like it because they know the other ones better, but they have a problem with that skill floor coming up. They were so harsh on the entire combat system being simplified because they were not unique anymore. People actually could play the game the way they wanted to. So those people were really angry at that point. And they said that they really hate the game. They claimed that the game was truly terrible, when in fact it really wasn't. The casual player base really likes the game because everything about the combat, well, most things about the combat were literally based on their feedback and the developers' lists, and that's the thing about Last Recollection. It also has a short story, which some people portray as bad, but I don't know. Alsatian Licorice, that's like, what, 40-hour story? If you are casual, just going around at your own pace. Akuria's games are incredibly bloated, like, most of that story has no place in actually being there. It just exists for you to go around a lot of these empty areas with huge maps that don't really have anything to do, but story acts like, hey, you actually have something to do, when in reality you do not. I enjoyed Last Recollection being more linear, a proper story. I'm not gonna bother with the mimic. Having a tight narrative focus on its story. The only time the game felt bloated was when it forced you to visit the 4 raid areas. Well, raid areas, they were not exactly raids by Illustration Licorice's standard, which that is a criticism I will agree with. But the point is that the moment we went back to the usual Akuria bloat, I almost completely lost my entire interest in the game. It was somewhere between chapters 7 and 10, if I remember correctly. That's a very long range to talk about. I really don't remember specifically where it was. But when we were going through chapters, like 1 chapter an hour, it suddenly became such a slog to go through a 5-hour portion with nothing meaningful happening in the game or in the story. And it clearly illustrated to me that, hey, I actually enjoy this game being a much tighter focus on having a proper story rather than forcing you to visit 50 different zones that don't really have anything of value to offer you. Oh wait, we got to the exit, but I completely forgot searching for the key while I was talking. That's a bit of a shame. You talk about the base game or DLC? About Last Recollection? We do not talk about the DLC. No. The DLC is absolutely terrible. It was clearly supposed to be part of the main game with the bed scenes, but it wasn't. It was cut off for DLC, and to justify the price tag that it has, they decided to have such a stupid story around it, making you run through the exact same dungeon 16 times to complete both DLCs. 18 actually, because you have to go at the end one more time. It did not deserve to be a DLC. It's chasing us, right? Yeah. How you doing, Ark, by the way? Hey there, Simone. What's up? How you doing? How you doing as well, Ark? Reymitos, may I ask where you dropped Last Recollection? Like in terms of story, I'm asking. A bit late joining. Are we talking about why we don't like Illustration Licorice? I talk about things, why I like Illustration Licorice, why I dislike Illustration Licorice, why I think the general public, not the general public, it's a very specific group of people. I'll put it this way. There's the hardcore player base who put in, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 hours into the game. You know the players. You have watched their videos because they want you to copy their playstyle, so they keep putting out more videos for you to watch and copy from. That's the extreme hardcore player base that I'm talking about. There's the hardcore casual player base, who often is clever enough to make their own builds, get their own inspirations, try out their own things. They put a lot of hours into it. They don't care what others do. They just enjoy the game on their own. There is the casual hardcore player base, I'll put it like that, who are the ones watching the top hardcore casual players. Because they want to be the very best that no one ever was, but they don't have the capability to. Nothing wrong with it. I'm terrible in a lot of games. Everyone has a skill cap, that is fine. But they want to act like they are so good. So they want to copy everything they do. And this is the player base who actually listens to that top one. Whereas the portion here, the casual people, the casual hardcore players, they don't listen to the top tier. They just enjoy their game. And there's the casuals who do not give a fuck about anyone above. They just want to play the damn game and be done with it. Like the only portion who is angry about the game for many wrong reasons are the ones up top, because now they can't get the views they want. And the ones who are trying to imitate the top ones, because that's where they all get their information from. There are exceptions, of course. Ramos, I still want to hear from you. But those two portions, they're such a small player base. And one of them has a conflict of interest, let's say. Because they need those players to watch them. And for that, they need the game to be unreasonably complex, so they can make it uncomplex for the people who think it is complex, when they can just be in the bottom layer who just play games for fun, but they don't want to play games for fun. You see those relationships. They don't trickle down, but they have interesting relationships between those groups. As simply as I can put it. And again, there are legitimate criticisms to be had. Like, if anyone complains that raids were a big downgrade from Alsatian Licorice in Last Collection, I will agree. I don't care about raids myself in Alsatian Licorice or Last Collection, but I will give them that. Yes, that is probably a portion where they were getting a lot of enjoyment from, that has been watered down significantly, that it resembles nothing anymore from what it used to be. But a lot of the general criticisms, they sound exactly like what you hear from Sword Online haters on the internet, you know. They will repeat the exact same arguments ad nauseum, when you know their arguments literally hold no weight. Okay, where was I? Oh, last question. I've completely forgotten about the story, gameplay-wise, since it was so forgettable, and I'm doing good. Just finished running an Elden Ring Night Rain session with my roommate. I don't think, like... I remember putting those things in my review. I'm pretty convinced at it. The thing they did wrong with Last Collection was the overall balancing of enemies. Like, it was great they increased the skill floor. It was great they still provided the opportunities for the skill ceiling for those who wanted to chase it, manual skills, skill chaining, and all those kinds of stuff. They did all those, but the problem is the bosses still felt like, I'm gonna say, hollow realization bosses, where what you need to do is you need to chain 10, 15 skills back to back to back to get a stupid amount of multiplier, whereas the game did not have that multiplier. Last Collection I'm talking about. Because your skill connect is capped at 3, if I remember correctly. So you were not able to get the damage, no matter if you had the top gear equipment or not. So the bosses ended up being extremely spongy and wasted a lot of your time. But equally, the bosses were such a non-threat that even if you stood still, most of them would not be able to kill you at all. So you have a big sponge that wastes your time up to 20 or 30 minutes because you can't deal enough damage. But it also can't threaten you at all, so you are not engaged in dodging or parrying or all those kinds of stuff. You just mindlessly keep spamming and nothing is happening. You watch the health bar go chipping away bit by bit by bit by bit, and you're over here just spamming the thing. You can't even be bothered to skill chain because you barely get any benefit from it compared to something like Hollow Realization, which was the case in Alsatian Licorice as well, but Alsatian Licorice balance was not as broken. So you end up just going... You're doing other stuff on the PC while still spamming the attack button because it just does the auto attacks. And eventually, 20 minutes later, the boss is gonna be dead. But like... And I kept saying it for months upon months. The game literally just required a little bit of balancing on the bosses themselves. Less damage resistance and more attack potency on the bosses. So the bosses would feel threatening, which means you have to dodge, you have to parry, you have to look at their attack patterns, you have to engage with the game. And also, in return, you need to be able to do a little bit more damage, so you're not just spamming the exact same thing for 30 minutes for a box standard area boss. Simple balancing. That was the biggest mistake of Last Collection. Wait, did Ramos respond? Oh no, you're saying you couldn't complete Licorice because, yeah. I thought it was, I'm interested why people don't like games, because it gives me additional perspectives, you know? That's what I do. I'm literally interacting with the community to understand how community feels, how players feel, how certain problems can be alleviated and all those kind of stuff. That's what I like doing. But when it's clear, when people are just parroting others' opinions, I'm not talking about Ramos. I'm literally talking in general, because, you know, when people are repeating the same arguments, it becomes very clear that they don't have their own opinion. They are just parroting someone else's opinion. Because when you ask them to elaborate, they can't. It's like that. Why is it like that? It's just like that. It's what I said. There's no conversation there. Who's messaging me on WhatsApp again? Where were we in the meanwhile? Did you get all the sword skills? Yes, I have. I have platinum in Hollow Realization. I have an entire chasing the platinum trophy streams from way back when. Hey there, Jerry. Welcome. How you doing? Last Collection should have not had multiplayer, period. It was literally a waste of resources that they could have used towards a couple more events. Oh, you mean story events? I don't think those two are correlated. Completely different departments in my mind. But generally speaking, multiplayer in Sword Online games is literally an afterthought in whichever game you go. It's because people keep asking for it that they very half-heartedly include. That's a fake chest. And you know, it keeps a very engaged, very small but very engaged player base, like 50-60 players, for quite a very long time. But none of the games are actually realized to stay alive for that long. They are story-driven games, they are not live services. But for some reason, every player is expecting every game to last them, I don't know, thousands of hours. Which I think is hurting games more than it's benefiting them. It sets up a lot of false expectations. I think that's gonna be a mimic. Oh my god. My bad. In my opinion, what it did was got the combat so much that it lost what makes an Akuria game an Akuria SAO game, limiting the roles of allies, useless skill tree. I think their skill tree was a neat experiment, you know, having everything unlocked from the beginning because it was a direct continuation from Alsatian Licorice. But I don't think their experiment worked. Like, I clearly saw what they were going for, but it made a lot of things very unsatisfying for players. Like, progressing a skill tree is satisfactory because you're actually progressing through a skill tree. If you have everything unlocked and are only spending points at random, well, not at random, but like wherever you want for minute benefits, I think that's entirely missing the mark of what a skill tree is. At which point, I think the game was better off not having a skill tree at all. Simplifying combat and roles. Are you talking about the recording thingy that Alsatian Licorice had? I think what they decided was it was extremely complex for 99% of player base, that nobody engaged with it, and that's why they removed it. Like, I'll gladly tell you, I didn't do anything with that entire complex recording tree system. And I can guarantee you, aside from a handful of players, nobody did. And they could see it in their data, and that's why they went the way they did. Otherwise, I don't think the combat was simplified all that much. We still had skill chains, we still had the down, broken, whatever the chain that we had. Although I remember they changed something with it to simplify, yet it confused me more than it should have. I don't exactly recall what it is. I think every single attack did the same effect or something when an enemy was launched, so you could just spam skills and it would eventually go down into a stun state. I think that was a mistake. I think that was oversimplification. I think giving specific abilities to specific sword skills based on their sword movements as well was a nice choice that Alsatian Licorice had. What was the thing I did not enjoy? There were 3 different enemy states. Yeah. I don't recall the specific hotkey verbs for them, but like one of them was basically parrying a ranged attack. That was a crapshoot. It didn't work 90% of the time. However, I timed the skills. One was breaking the shields, which is a tradition in SAO games. They cannot have a game without it. A Korea game without it, let's say. And there was something else. Break, deflect, and one more thing. Someone's gonna call it down in chat. I think the way they approached that was worse, significantly worse than how they did with Alsatian Licorice. I felt like Alsatian Licorice was a lot more recognizable what that specific status was. I don't think it was as recognizable in Last Recollection, and again, the ranged parry variant, whichever one it was, it didn't work 90% of the time. That was one of my main complaints about the combat. Which is exactly why I completely ignored that ranged parry thingy. If you pay attention to everything around you, there are clear signs about what something is. Reaper spawns, mimic locations, trap bot. Yeah, I know. I mean, mimic is specifically recognized by its placement. It has to be a chest that is at a 3-way road with a wall behind it. Oh god. The trap chests have that oozy aura. The Reaper location has the statues around and all those kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's really nice. I just wish they easily could have improved the singularity by actually giving it biomes rather than this boring repeating textures for 1,000 floors, mind you. Or at the very least, the boss floors could have had unique biomes. Oh wait, I don't have the key. That wasn't an enemy problem, I need the key. Okay, we came that way. I'm not sure if I went this way though. No, I didn't. Okay, we got 2 chests here. Still being attacked by a weeping soul. Which of you weeping souls are trying to attack me? Kill you as well, that's fine. I probably should have asked like 30 minutes ago, but how are the voice levels, everyone? Did I set everything up correctly? That is the key. If we open this chest as well. Nah. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna take that XP. Why not? Okay, now where were we? Battle skills that are so useless, you need to stack 20 of them. I don't think I used battle skills at all in the entire last collection. Yeah, I will agree with that as well. And getting rid of enhancing weapons, I could go on and on, but I just don't care anymore. If the balancing was not as whack, I wouldn't mind not being able to enhance weapons. Like, it's just a massive time sink. I hated enhancing weapons here, I hated enhancing weapons in Alsatian Licorice, but it felt satisfying because the game was designed around having that power boost. Because the bosses otherwise would be way too unbeatable. So guess what the problem here is? Moving on to Last Collection. The bosses were just as spongy, but now you had no way of upgrading your weapons. You see where that balancing mistake kicks in? Fatal Bullet is the best. Enjoy what you enjoy the most, man. I do not like Fatal Bullet, but that is just a me problem. Plenty of people enjoy Fatal Bullet. I think it still has a functioning PvP community. Which I hated, because the netcode was terrible whenever I tried playing on my streams. Like, PvP streams were basically meme streams here. We were just having fun, the entire squad of Len. Len squad shirt, as well as many others, like the first day, available on my Teespring page. The link should be regularly posted by my Nightbot, as well as should be in the description, so do check out all that merch. We have posters, we have stickers, we have t-shirts, we have hoodies. It's no longer the hoodie season, but still. What was I even saying? Oh yeah, I was more of a fan of the co-op missions, which we got with Fractured Daydream now, so I have no reason to look back at Fatal Bullet. Now that's Akuria's fault for not explaining it at all. The problem is whenever Akuria adds a new system, they either don't explain at all or wait years to add. No. Those 3 mechanics, those 3 enemy attack states, they did have explanations. One of them just doesn't work. The monsters have 2 varied attacks that are not telegraphed properly when you should be engaging with that mechanic. It's not a problem of not having a tutorial. The tutorial is as simple as use this attack when the enemy is in this state. Like, the tutorial already exists. It just doesn't work reliably because the variance is way too much between the actual whenever the collision for the specific attack is. Some of them have actual projectiles you can track, some of them you just have to time them. What is even happening? That's not a problem of tutorial, that's a problem about the thing. Thank you, Kirita. But I was talking about how you can... Oh, you were talking about the skill recording. Okay, got it. Sorry, I'm way too behind in chat. But I was talking about how you can change party members as classes. Were you able to change classes back in Illustration Licorice? I don't think I ever did. I know you can change the classes of characters, so to say, here in Hollow Realization, but it's very cumbersome because it's tied to their personality effects, if I recall correctly. There was like a bubbly graph in this game that showed you their personality styles. No idea where to find them now. So I never interacted with it in this game. They were all random. Then do you think bringing back some sword skills to Last Recollection would work better? Skills like Deadly Sins, the Eclipse. I think the skill tree overall would have benefited a lot more variety. Variety that is distinct, by the way, with skills having distinct, recognizable effects rather than just being different animations without doing much special on their own. Oh, we have the key, so we can go on. But before adding skills, that's what I would do, like make skills actually matter. Because in Last Recollection, in trying something novel that is thematically coming after Illustration Licorice, I think they failed what they were going for. Again, I get the idea of what they were going for, but I think they couldn't execute it well enough. Yes, anti-air. Was it anti-air or bullet break? Wait, there were 4 of them? Maybe that's why it didn't work 90% of the time, because I didn't realize it was 4 different things. I generally thought there were 3. I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering. It's been a while since I played Last Recollection. I didn't go back to it because it was a one and done story experience. It was actually exactly what I asked SAO games to be. Stop adding stupid engagement mechanics for a game that is only about its story. Okay, I'll try to be faster with the chat. I think I'm about to catch up though. Guard break, I hate Last Collection because all the sword skills that don't have guard break are the ones you'd... Right. I remember, I fell for that for so many times. I think for a certain amount of time, was it Warple Strike that had its attribute changed? Because I remember there was one skill that I consistently used wrong. Like the entire first 3 or 4 chapters, because I simply assumed, hey, this had this attribute the entire existence of the SAO gameverse. It has to have the same attribute in this game as well. So I didn't even read its tooltip to realize that it did not have the attribute I thought it had. So yes, I recognize that one. Oh wait, I am not as close as I thought. For me, I disagree on some points. That mechanic made me play characters I don't usually play with in Licorice. Actually countering felt rewarding. Are you talking about the 4 or 3 mechanics that we were talking about? The mechanics themselves are satisfying. It's just that one of them doesn't work 90% of the time in Last Collection. That is the problem. Everything's fine. Thank you, Polsky. Wasn't fond of Licorice's way of doing so because it was less recognizable for me which break I should go for. I'm limited to only 4 skills in Licorice. I always thought it was much more clear with how it's naturally telegraphed. Didn't Last Recollection also have a banner or something as to what break it was? It was literally telling you, hey, it is this break. And you couldn't really be sure because how badly telegraphed most of them were. So you had to wait for that text to pop up. But some attacks were already happening by the time the text pops up, so the help text wasn't particularly useful. Oh, for fuck's sake. But the whole point of party member customization in Akuria SAO games is to play with whoever you want and customize them to your liking. I do agree, yes. I do not use the characters that way, I just pick up the character I want without bothering what they do, but I agree on the principle. It's not for me. Okay, now we need to recognize which way I'm going at. I think this is... yeah. I explored the opposite of where I saw the crystal. Oh, never mind, this is... absolutely the wrong way. Come on, I don't want to spend an entire hour in this first 10 block. Akuria SAO are all about player freedom when it comes to building characters. You can't just take that away and expect long-time people... I agree, yes. As I said, I don't engage with the customization side, but I do agree with that. There are mods now on PC that make the netcode good. Really? Really? Fatal Bullet with good netcode? Color me surprised. It may actually be enjoyable if that's the case. Sadly, I'm a PlayStation player. And yeah, one of the things that annoyed me is the... I think Fatal Bullet was 30 FPS. Locked into it even on PS5. That's annoying. That was particularly annoying after coming back from Hololization, which runs at a smooth 60. And then we went over to Alicization Licorice, which was again 30 FPS. Why? And finally, Last Recollection brought us back up to 60, which was nice. And there's more of an exception. They'll explain the simple stuff, but more complex stuff like records, emotion void system. Emotion void system is the one this game has, right? Hololization's bubbles. And stats in earlier games like Hollow Fragment and Hollow aren't explained. I still think most of those issues is because Akuria can't simplify their explanations, and the translations end up just being terrible. Shit. Did I accidentally use a boom potion? Don't care. Missed my chain. I will look at it in a second, but thank you very much for whoever you are. There we go. There we go. Now. Hey, thank you, Kirgahime. Appreciate it. That's been 3 in a row, if I'm counting correctly. That's why I lowered the counter to 5 as well, for the goal. But that's 3 in a row. Hey, where were we? It's funny because Last Recollection tried doing that by doing what Polarization did, but they didn't go far enough because they didn't want to make the combat to MMO like again. Probably. Like, I can't comment too much on things I barely remember. So I'm just gonna not say anything further. I clearly don't remember them well enough. Nightmare Rain does go brr in this game. I love chaining it with double circular. Simple building up of the chain and then going for a finisher. For some reason I still think my Nightmare Rain and wait, this game still has the star system. That may be why my finishers are not doing as much damage as I expect them to. Where do I see? Do I see it in the palette? Double circular has 2 stars. I need to use it 1,000 more times to get it up to 3 star for a massive damage boost. My Nightmare Rain, that's why it is so powerful, because it is 3 stars. And my finishers are so powerless because I can still use Starbar Stream. It only recently gained the 2nd star. It's 100,000, 10,000, right? So yeah, Starbar Stream only recently became slightly more powerful, but it's still not so good compared to my Nightmare Rain. Eclipse, the same. And Tachyon Inversion is only at 1. That's why it is kinda sorta the ultimate. Wait, is it the ultimate? It has so low stats, no? 65, 20, that is 90. Oh no, it is actually powerful. That is 200% total. The Eclipse is only 130%, so it is very much powerless compared to that. And this is 100% stat total. Yeah, Tachyon Inversion should... Stat-wise, it is incredibly superior. I just need to use it 1,000 times for it to do something meaningful at all. Absolute Zodiac? What the fuck is that? Is this like one of the divine skills we get from the thing? This has quite high stats as well. Yeah, this is also 200 stat total. With really low SP cost. Interesting. You can tell I never engaged really with the Paragon systems. Yeah, Warple Strike being charge break, that's the one. That's the one, because it has to be defense break. Not charge break. Like, Warple Strike is the most clear thrusting thing that you have in the game. How can you not make it pierce through a defensive shield and make it do something else? That is absolutely wrong on every imaginable level. That's what it is. Yes. Don't worry, Desert Pink Munchkin. Don't worry, it's fine. Okay, I'll catch up with the chat. Give me a second. In Last Recollection, it's all about timing. It's not that they don't work. It's... I will define what I say by working. For something, for me to call it working, it needs to be reliable. So what it needs to do is it needs to telegraph things clearly so that I can reasonably react to it. If something is a crapshoot experimenting game to figure out how it works, that is not working. If it has such wild differences between 50,000 variations of it under the same mechanic umbrella, it's not working because you can't adapt to it. You have no idea what you should look out for. That anti-air thing, that's how it is. For some enemies, you just spam it at the very beginning. For some enemies, you just spam it at the very end. For some enemies, I swear to God, it's just missing the flag for it to work. So, anti-air is absolutely broken. It is not intuitive, and that's where its fault lies. It's not about lacking a tutorial, not intuitive, not clearly telegraphed, no fucking clue when that timing window is. Because for every other mechanic, it's not about timing. You just see, oh, he's doing that. Cool, I'm gonna counter that whenever during that very long period you have for countering. For anti-air, I think you need to be looking at the projectile that the attack is attached to and kinda sorta counter that in terms of ranged parrying I was referring to as earlier. But even then it doesn't properly work because I'm just gonna say because it just doesn't connect. It has a very specific timing it asks of you, which doesn't really have anything to do with the projectile itself. There is that one golden opportune moment that you should be aiming for, but you have no idea what it is because the game has no way of telegraphing it to you. Wait. Bullet break. I think I'm talking about bullet break, not anti-air. Is anti-air bullet break or is that a separate thing? I'm completely lost at this point. It's been a very long time. But I'm literally talking about the one that doesn't work 90%. I'm talking about that attack, that ranged parry. I think it's bullet break. I don't know. I need to go back to Last Recollection. I actually still have it installed. Because I was collecting footage for my soundtrack preview. So I can't technically turn it on and tell you what it is. Because I specifically remember the attack Kirito has for it. No, wait, I think I was doing that with Alice. Was it horizontal square that did it? No, it wasn't horizontal square. I don't remember. I can't say anything specific. I need to go back into the game. Which I am not going to do. It's been an hour, which means I am behind schedule. I at least need to reach floor 200. I should have checked the stats that look good. Okay, we're gonna go up. I will once again try catching up with the chat and then probably fail. Licorice at first does seem limiting, but when you delve into the combat, it's ironically enough way more free because of how the party system works. Licorice is, I'm just gonna say, way too complex. I'm pretty sure a lot of things were removed because they were extremely complex for your average player. Licorice had way too much. Akuria is already generally drowning in complexity in their games, and Licorice just pushed it way too far. But that's also a balancing problem, you know, because when you have complex systems, you need to reward the player reasonably for them to engage with that complex system. And when you have, you know, 2 layers of complexity, 3 layers, 4, 5 layers of complexity, you still have a reasonable scale. When you have 6, 7, 8, 10, 20, 30 levels of complexity, you know, you need to buff the enemies to such an extent for players using that advantage to be actually challenged somewhat, that you're basically destroying the game for those who will accept up to 25 layers of complexity, if that makes sense. You're just trying to give it a gradient as to how it functions. And Last Recollection removed most of it, which I still think was a good choice, but Last Recollection did not balance its gameplay around it as a result, which made boss combat absolutely terrible, because you no longer had those benefits to get that power boost. Dual Blade's bullet break work well with laser attacks, but not falling particles. I think you're talking about exactly what I'm referring to, yeah. That is making sense in my mind. That is the reason for my "this shit is stupid" reaction. Okay, now, where are we? Relying on mods to make a game good doesn't make the game good. That is true. But it can also make the game a lot more enjoyable. So mods are something to recognize, not as the success of a game, but you know, something supplementary, something more about the community coming together. I think it's still relevant. There's still a minor distinction to make. Yeah, I completely agree with Polsky there. Fatal Bullet on console is 30 because the game logic was not optimized for 30, and it shows if you change the frame rate for Last Recollection, Fatal Bullet and Licorice on console. Can you change the frame rate on console? You're talking about PC. And Fatal Bullet was optimized for 30. The problems... I'm absolutely sure the PC had problems the moment you were over 30. Everything was one-shotting you, the targeting was constantly on point. It's the same Destiny problem. In hindsight, I'd say Emotion Void is the best of both worlds. Enough depth to broadly customize your party members while being easy enough to understand. I agree! But it needs a tutorial. At that point, I will say, please, Akuria, tell someone who understands mechanics to write a tutorial. Don't try writing the tutorial yourself. So many of these games have great mechanics. But you're just terrible at tutorials. You're terrible at explaining how something works. Again, I still think most of that is because of lacking translation. Because the translator they give the tooltips to doesn't play the games to understand what's actually happening. They're just translating what's on screen. But to make the mechanics understandable, you need to understand the mechanics yourself. It's not a translation that you're supposed to do when doing a tutorial. You're basically supposed to get inspired from that text and basically write your own tutorial in the target language. It's a completely different art than just translating. Translating is a complete art on its own. But translating tutorials, it is misleading to call it translating. You need to write a tutorial in the target language. You're basically not translating at that point. No chests here. Oh, Tachyon inversion is not a finisher. Okay, that may be why it's feeling less powerful as well. Is the ultimate skill still Eclipse then? Oh, okay, I understand. Maybe we'll have a look at it. Maybe. Dumb question, what was the thing? We are not talking about Fractured Daydream until June 6. I am boycotting the game until June 6 as a response to them completely ignoring fans. Paid customers, put it that way, paid customers who did not get their DLC for 16 business days. I don't want to dive deeper into fucking stupid breaks of Last Recollection. I think they did a bad job compared to Licorice. Already confused enough. But yes, Photon Eraser is the stupid shit. Remember that name. When I say too complex, I'm talking about general audiences. I'm not talking about myself. There are plenty of super highly complex things I will engage with. And there are very simple stuff that I will not engage with. It's about enjoying that specific thing. But when you aggregate it to an entire player base, there is an average line that you'll find that, hey, after this point, people really do not want to spend too much brain power into it. When I say too complex, I'm talking in reference to that average aggregated line. I'm not talking about myself. That's the thing many people have a problem with. Now, maybe it's an education thing, maybe it's a personal style thing. But people often have a very hard time distancing from themselves. For fuck's sake. Like, way too often people don't realize or want to live in their own reality. Not talking about you right now. I'm literally as I'm saying, I'm literally thinking about Sword Art Online sales numbers and the state of the franchise as a whole. And people who don't want to listen to anything because they want to think SAO is still the best thing ever, on top of the charts, doing everything right and all those kinds of stuff, when it clearly isn't. But you know, people do have a hard time between distinguishing I like this, I don't like this, to the average overall sentiment of a thing that has nothing to do with my anecdotal experience. Those are completely unrelated things. Now, since I forgot where I went previously, I will just go through here again. And that is the Reaper spawn, which means I was not here before. I think I fell down by that chasm over there, if I remember correctly. So we're gonna summon the Reaper because there's a chest beyond. Which means I will need to focus on the floor and just clear it quickly. But yeah, you may enjoy complex things, you may enjoy simple things, you may enjoy one complex thing while not enjoying something simple, or vice versa at the same time. It depends on the specific thing. But on an entire player base level, when you aggregate every single piece of information from all kinds of different people, you will find yourself at an average where people are willing to engage with your complexity or not. And that's what I'm talking about when I say complex. Please be the key. Chest over there. Nope, that is a fake chest, which means it cannot be the key, which means we need to go exploring. No, I wanted to use my skill. God damn it. Button prioritization. If I have my... If I can't even speak. If I have my skill palette on, please do not prioritize the open world actions. If I have my skill palette on, that probably means I want to use my skills. Oh shit, I wasn't even looking at the ground, I was following the map. I got lucky there. Now, to be frank, if I fell down, I think we'll just respawn exactly here. This was our spawn point. There we go, that's our corridor key. Now we go back. And then I will continue looking at the chat. How far behind am I? Can someone please say? I really don't want to hear it, but I need to know. So that I properly prioritize chat and catch up. At last. At some point I need to act someone to act as a mod to pull interesting questions for me. Oh, apparently Apothecary Diaries had an incredible episode. I'm still not watching it, I need to read the book. Okay. I am dropping the controller, I am solely answering your stuff. I need to finish the game, says Thespian. You absolutely should. Fun game, good story. Do you think Quaru is gonna turn on in Integral Factor because she was seen in the last scene of the news 4? I have not played the past couple floors. If you don't see it on my channel, I have not played it. I have no idea. I don't know. I meant Beyond 30 and I meant PC. Arc! That completely changes the meaning of your sentence to be the exact opposite. Good one. It got a tutorial like 2 years after the fact and a very basic one. The bubble system, yeah. Sorry, I had to AFK, just listen to your recollection thoughts. I hated it because I felt the story was just atrociously boring, bloated and slow. They also butchered the good multiplayer of... Okay, I'm not gonna touch the multiplayer, that is... I do agree with that, because Illusion Licorice had more to offer in multiplayer. I wouldn't call it butchered, it's just... They did not focus on multiplayer at all. But in terms of story, I'm really surprised you feel that way. Because Last Recollection literally did not stop telling its story. And in quick bursts as well. Like it just kept going. Unlike Last Recollection... Sorry, unlike Illusion Licorice, where... Medina was unlikable. The things she did... It did not quite link back up to what she was doing previously, which made her feel like an inconsistent character who just exists to create additional plot points for the story to get longer. We were just visiting every single area for no reason whatsoever, but the story had to justify us being there because they wanted us to see this other zone, and eventually they even gave up. There are some areas that are in the base game that are never visited at all. But it created B plot after B plot rather than chasing the main plot back in Alicization Licorice, and it just grew so much it never got to anywhere. And with Medina, as unlikable as she is, as stupid as she is, to not recognize the meme wizard who is doing clear evil faces like laughing, doing things like that, not realizing that he was an ass. And after everything that had happened, what it takes for her to realize, maybe this wizard guy is not a good chap, is her entire follower base getting, game ended in front of her eyes. We had to go that far for Medina to realize maybe he's not a good guy. And for fuck's sake, I have so many issues with the story of Alicization Licorice, whereas in Last Recollection, Dorothy is a well-written character. Dorothy is a likable character that carries the entire narrative. We open with her words and end with her words, mirroring each other. The story just keeps going. It takes us from the beginning, Eastern Gate, all the way to Trader City, Obsidia, back there. My only issue with the story, well, two issues that are kind of sort of connected, is one, I'm fucking tired of Gabrielle Miller. Worst villain in the entire series. And two, the entire chapter with the 4 raids. It's just a slog where nothing happens. Those are the only two issues I have with the story in Last Recollection. I would love to go into a VC if I had the proper setup. Maybe next time, if you can prepare properly, I will gladly do so. You may also find it worthwhile to do some enigma orders for Paragon weapons for your main party member. I do have a couple Paragon weapons. Again, that's the point of... I'm not engaging with it because it's too complex. It's simple, I just don't care for it. Licorice and Last Collection slander. Again, I think opinions are fine. It's fine if people disagree as well. Having a discussion is nice. And hearing different perspectives. As long as they are actually perspectives, and as long as people have opinions, I don't care if they disagree with me. I do want to hear them, and I will share mine in return, but it's fine if we end up disagreeing. I just want it to be your opinion, not being parroted from someplace else. Ikuria games mostly hit a nice sweet spot for certain hamster wheels. They have a good estimation of how players are gonna engage with certain things, but their implementation misses the mark 3 times before it properly nails it down. Like, look at attack fusions and how they responded to EX dancing in Halo Alicization. It's always my favorite example. My opinions on Licorice are the definition of love-hatred. I will just generally apply to most of what Ikuria does. Again, they need 3 or 4 revisions for something to actually work, and they know what they want to do, and they know it is going to work, and it is going to work. They just need 3 or 4 public iterations before they get to that point. Chests that are tied to NM's door. Yeah, that's why generally ignoring the fake chests and NMs when I am going straight. I don't understand why they didn't port over the prize outfit from Licorice the Last Recollection. It's baffling how a game from 2020 has less costumes from a game. I'm pretty sure there is a certain aspect in Last Recollection's development where they went, hey, we want this game to exist for 6 months and then we're gonna move on to Fractured Daydream from Bandai Namco's side. I am absolutely sure that if COVID didn't happen and Alicization Licorice's life cycle continued as they initially planned, not get dragged on because of COVID issues, you know, delaying all the DLCs to fix the main game, and then DLCs having certain issues and giving up on this and that, and then weird choices, especially with DLC 2 just leaking early. If Alicization Licorice had its normal lifespan, I don't know, 1.5 years, let's say, so Last Recollection could release in its initial planned date, internal at that point, because they had to hide it away as Licorice was around. That would be pulled forward. So as a result, Last Recollection would have a healthy life cycle that they could bank on. Then Last Recollection would also have more content, and we would probably have the cubes back as well at that point. But because with the start of COVID, everything starting from the release of Alicization Licorice got pushed all the way back, and that's all Akuria's planning, whereas not the entire time, but most of the second half of that period, Dimps was working on Fractured Daydream internally, and they knew Fractured Daydream had to release at a certain point. That's what ended up affecting Last Recollection and its life cycle, because it was basically sandwiched between this fixed thing that's coming, Fractured Daydream, and this thing that got delayed so much throughout its entire period that it squished its lifespan to a point where it was not good enough to invest more. My general take on Last Recollection is that why it has so little costumes and all those kinds of stuff. Exactly. That's what I wanted to mention as well, because Last Recollection was rated for in-game microtransactions and all those kinds of stuff. It was going to happen, but because it got squished to such a narrow window it could stay alive, they just waved their hand. Okay, we're just gonna have Last Recollection out, let it live, and then move on to Fractured Daydream at that point. Very far behind. Good to see. Yeah, that is quite far away. I'm coming. Trust me. I can. As I said, we need to plan things properly, but we can definitely turn those live in the future. Didn't the author of Apothecary go to jail for like tax evasion? Did he? I have no idea. I'm not into Apothecary Diaries fandom. I just enjoy the series. Sure thing, Ark. Didn't Futami-san say that they wrote so much that they had to cut it from the story and make it into optional scenes in the Recollection tab? In Alicization Licorice? I think he did, I vaguely recall that. But Recollections tab was great. Like, there was so much valuable lore information there that didn't necessarily matter, but if you wanted to learn more, that you could. Like, that's the one game where I had additional information things uploaded as a playthrough chapter, because I found so much interesting and valuable stuff in the Recollections tab. I think they did a great job with that. I wish they did more. I absolutely wish they did more, because goddamn, Alicization Licorice was bloated. But again, the bloat was because they wanted you to explore every single map, which I think was a bad choice. Akuria has a size problem, which they solved with Last Recollection. But it came with its own caveats at that point. Medina trash talk is music to my ears. I don't think I've ever heard a single good thing said about her. Medina is the one Gameverse character that I have seen almost unanimous hate for. As a dislikable character. It is impressive what they did. I don't know how they wanted her to be perceived, but I'm absolutely sure they did not hit the mark they wanted. There are plenty of people who don't like Gabriel Miller. Such a terrible villain. Nothing behind him that makes him stand out as a villain, other than being an absolute maniac. You see? If you refer to something as fluff, it should probably be a side story somewhere. Main story is not the place for fluff. Genesis is extremely annoying, but that's his point. So, with Genesis, they hit their mark. With Medina, they did not. What would you need me to prepare on my end? And what I need to prepare is that I don't quite have a system where I can listen to the game audio while also having connected to the PC. I'm literally not having my headphones on so that I could listen to PlayStation while talking to you. So I need to set up my side to make things work. Because I'd argue Genesis is the worst if you count the gamers, given how forgettable and generic he is. I mean, yeah, but Genesis is not the villain of Hollow Realization. It's Tia. It's Tia's villain story, what Hollow Realization is. Genesis just exists as a catalyst. Whereas Gabriel Miller, Subtilizer, he keeps coming back as the main villain of every single game. And he has so little substance to his character that in every single game he appears, he just goes, "Oh, your soul will be so sweet, where's my Alice, where's my Alicia?" He does absolutely nothing because he has no character. Genesis is just some dickhead hacking in a game. Like, he's not the villain, he's just the catalyst for Tia. Gabriel Miller is the villain, and he fails at being a compelling villain in every single meaning of the word. Which SAO game would you recommend for PlayStation 4? Either play them in order, starting with Hollow Fragment, or play Hollow Realization. I don't think we need a port of the arcade game. I do not think you will play it. I'll put it that way. No. I don't think we would ever have Last Recollection be a story expansion for Licorice. I don't think that was ever in the plans. People keep claiming Last Recollection should have been a DLC for Licorice, but I just think that's stupid. That was never the intention, that was never promised. They said things against that even as far back as the promotional period for Last Recollection Licorice. Last Recollection was always going to be a separate game, which has other problems because they kept saying Alsatian Licorice would be the end of the Gameverse and all those kind of stuff, which was a lie. They probably separated the projects quite early on in the life cycle. But yeah, Last Recollection was never gonna be a DLC for Licorice. Oh yeah, Wetra Falls looks absolutely beautiful, but that is not Wetra Falls as far as I recall. They named... technically that is a different location according to Last Recollection. I don't think that was Vetra Falls. Sure thing. So who's the most likable? Dorothy. PS5 has Discord, but the problem is, if I plug this to my PlayStation 5, your audio is going to cut off. PlayStation directs all the audio data, unless I'm using an optical cable, which I don't have an optical headset, reroutes all the audio to the controller, so nothing comes out of the HDMI, so my capture card cannot hear any of the noises, so you will not hear the game and you will not hear Arc if I do the Discord on my PlayStation. And the fact of the matter is my OBS is also running on my PC, so my microphone is plugged to my PC, so if I were to Discord on PlayStation with Arc, you would not hear me either, because I would need my microphone to be plugged into my PlayStation as well. You would be surprised how budget my setup is and how none of the special gizmos I have to make this work smoothly. I'm a budget worker. And nobody realizes it, because I guess I do a decent job. I guess that's a praise. I think. I don't know. You're the one to judge that, not me. If I say that, I sound like an ass. Then let me be the exception. I quite like... Okay, someone ban Dragon Demon. He likes Medina. He's wrong. He's absolutely wrong. I don't understand how you people can like Rain so much, you ask. I will always like a character who does stuff because they care for another person. I'll put it that way. Medina just wants attention. TA's Premiere's twin. Oh, you'll learn soon. Oh, you just started Hololization, didn't you? Sorry. I think the games wanted to make him SAO Games' equivalent of Thanos in terms of presence. He didn't have the presence even in the main series. He's a stupid villain. He's a shonen villain who has no gravitas at all. Tier reveal, it's not a huge spoiler. It's a minimal reveal around the middle of the game, if I remember correctly. The early portion of Hololization drags a bit, I'll give it that much. The story of the twin goddesses doesn't really start early on. Because I remember hearing from you or Futami that Last Collection started as a story DLC of sorts for Licorice, but then they decided to make it its own game. That's what I'm saying. That point is a bit muddled. And that is also affected by the fact that people don't always think about the actual production lifespan of things. They probably wanted to have it as a DLC early, very, very early on. Like when you're brainstorming, what can we do about an Alicization game? Okay, we're gonna have Alicization Licorice main campaign where we'll have Medina, who's an ass, who goes after a meme wizard because Kirito is the most untrustworthy person on the planet. And then we're gonna have a DLC. What was even the first DLC? The DLCs were so forgettable for me. It's the Sword DLC, right? With... Yeah. The Evil King Yu-Gi-Oh! With the 4 different biomes that we visited. I don't even recognize what the real story was. We just had the Miyosote sword at the end of it. we're gonna have that story, and then we're gonna have another kid who randomly shows up, who definitely was there when Kirito, Yuji, Alice were kids, and all those kind of stuff, and then we're gonna have a story probably about the Dark Territory. I think it would be a nice way to wrap up, because, you know, War of Underworld and all those kind of stuff. But go back as far as you can with the news and stuff. People literally ask, hey, we're gonna have War of Underworld, we're gonna have Ocean Turtle. Futami literally states, laughing mind you, if we have those stuff, we're gonna need to have a new game. It's not gonna fit here. That's literally what he says. I very distinctly remember all of those stuff. So they very initially, during the brainstorming of what they can do with Licorice, they probably thought about having Last Recollection. But once things start to settle, this all happens before the initial announcement. I imagine. They said, no, that's not gonna be in this game. We'll do something else. Thanks again, Kirigahime. I am way too far behind though. We are catching up. Absolutely catching up, believe me. Dang, already on floor 192 already. Twice the already, twice the wrong. I should have completed my floor 200 by now. Lively chat for once. Yeah, the DLC truly dives into Tia's story. It almost feels like the entire base game of Hollow Realization is just backstory that you are living through. It's the characters that make the story of Hollow Realization. The main story of Hollow Realization, not much actually happens. I got my capture card like 10 years ago. It's been a while. It can barely do 1080p. It's literally the Elgato Gaming HD 60. It's the budget card they had that could do 1080p 60. But for collecting B-roll footage, I still use my PlayStation 5's internal recording. Because if you look at the HD 60 footage I'm streaming to my computer, it is so compressed. It's fine to upload things to YouTube, but to grab screenshots and stuff, it is impossible at this point. Holy crap, you almost caught up to me in DDD. Did you ever have any doubts? I am a professional SAO gamer. Bandai Namco, please hire me. For your social media, not for playing your games. Oh, then take care, Kigahim. I'm too late, but good night. I did see your message. I'm gonna heart it. Maybe he'll receive a notification or something. It was the Sword DLC that was just for... Right, we also had Ancient Apostles, yeah. Ah, come on now, every single biome of Myosotis was... It was still larger in scope compared to the individual Ancient Apostles. I'll give that DLC that much. Rogu was... I do agree with that. I think Rogu was them trying to create a likable character to contrast Medina so people would remember something from Illustration Licorice. But I did not enjoy Rogu either. He was way too childish. And his overall design, demeanor, it really felt like he didn't fit in. Like conceptually fit in. I know he's supposed to be somewhat of an outcast because he lived for so long outside. But conceptually he didn't fit in with that backstory and all those kind of stuff. I didn't like them injecting something into that backstory. I'll say that way. I think the Rulit trio has to be a constant that cannot be changed. I think that is special for their relationship. Thank you, man, Thunder Gamer. Appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like while I'm not even able to play the game. I'm almost caught up though. I can see I'm coming close. That doesn't mean you slow down. Chat needs the engagement, but I'll do my best. Hey there, Deco. Welcome. How you doing? Been a while. Oh wait! Did I catch up? Oh my god, I'm here. They should actually hire you to... Please do. I'm cheap, I'm Turkish. I want to ask, out of all these games, content and DLCs, which did you enjoy the most? Again, Fractured Daydream, locked behind the door, because I am not gonna speak about it until June 6th. Hollow Realization as an overall experience. Last Recollection for its story. I think that's a good answer. Yeah, that's sufficient. X-Shield was a nice addition. Yeah. I just, as a character, I don't like them fiddling with the Rulit trio concept. I think that's what soured me from even considering Drogo as an integral part of the trio quartet. Oh, Kirigahima is still here. Thank you. Oh, you did get a notification. Yes. Thank God, that was my intention. I wanted to say good night to you, but then realized I was way too late in chat, so I figured, hey, I will heart that one, maybe he'll receive a notification. So good night, mate. Hey there, Shinobu, welcome. So many people are coming and they are staying for some reason, despite the fact that I'm not playing a game. Almost like people are not here for the game. It feels nice. It makes me feel appreciated. I played a lot on Switch because it was all I had at the time. It was $8 for me. $8! Massive win for this game. Amazing deal. You heard it, lads. Start spam. Please don't spam. Ain't nothing wrong with a Rulit quartet for Gameverse. Sure, maybe. Again, that's an opinion thing. I'm not gonna disagree with that. Like, I will disagree with that. I'm just not gonna harp on it or anything. That's your opinion. That is fine. I don't like it. Nothing's happening on June 6th. It's Bandai Namco set the character paths wrong in Europe. We tried to get it solved. They ignored us for 16 business days, not even acknowledging the issue until it was solved. So as a response, I am basically completely ignoring the existence of Fractured Daydream for 16 business days myself, which comes down to June 6th. I'm cheap, I'm Turkish. You laugh, but have you seen our currency in the past 10 years since I moved to Europe? I can assure you, I am cheap workforce. Hololization is my favorite game. I played it on Switch and I have it complete now. Played on PC, but only level 200 or 300. Hololization is so much fun. You are like an info broker tour. Ah, thank you. If you're on Twitter, you should definitely follow, what's it? Weekly SAO? Weekly Argo, I believe? Wait, I'll check and... to make sure I'll provide a link. Yeah, Weekly Argo. They're basically doing what I used to do a while back in video form. Basically sharing Sword Online game news in a newspaper edition of sort. If you're interested in those kind of stuff, I strongly recommend following them. He's also suffering a bit from the exact same problem I suffered when I was making those videos. It's hard to synchronize everything, to properly share everything as a news. So some of the things he ends up sharing ends up being quite late, like in the final day of an event or something, you'll get the announcement of the event. But that is an unavoidable result of what they're trying to do. I suffered from the same thing with my weekly SAO series as well. It just happens. They're doing a great job. Very much an unrecognized account overall, so I'd love it if you go support him as well. It's nice to help up and coming people trying to support the community this way. I'm pretty sure Bandai Namco featured them after seeing them from me. I'll say that much. Because I shared it in some private places as well for it to be seen. And they ended up spotlighting him in the 100 under 100k series that they were doing. I think in the last batch or second to last batch he was included. That was nice. Thank you, Thunder. Appreciate it. Yeah, see, there are plenty of Lost Song lovers. I hate that game, but but it's nice to know some people enjoy it as well. I just think it's way too stiff of a game, and the story did not engage me, sadly. I can talk about that when June 6 comes. I have a lot of things to blame on Bandai Namco's social team at the moment as well. Fucking caught up. Let's do this. Let's do this. Yeah, this is a gameplay stream, everyone. Oh, that's a fake chest. Do my skills actually have to connect to register into the star system? Or can I just freely spam them to increase the usage count? I think that is an important question. Like during my free time I can actually spam some skills to get stars, to make things easier for myself. Corridor key. Take care. Actually, that reminds me, my dishwasher just finished and I at least need to open its door to let this out. My personal plan was to finish the stream before that was over so I could start cooking, but what are you gonna do? None of my plans ever work. That's why I studied strategic management. To learn that none of the plans ever work anyways, and you need to adapt to circumstances, which we're doing. I am applying my university knowledge here in this stream by failing to cook and starving myself. That is the benefits of going to university and learning so much stuff. You get to starve yourself much more efficiently. Hey, take care, Ark. I already said that because that was why I went to the dishwasher, and my brain is still in one place. Don't worry about my sanity. We're cool. He sat there for more than half an hour. Did it take more than half an hour? I think it did, yeah. I think it may have been closer to an hour than just half an hour. I'm pretty sure I started reading chat shortly after I complained how it's been almost an hour since I started. Oh my god. They need to connect, that is extremely sad. Oh, YouTube autoplay did a good thing. Welcome, Philia. How you doing? Good to have you here. Checked it. It was about 34 minutes. Okay, that makes me feel less bad. Thank you for checking. Hachi, how you doing, mate? I know you keep inviting me sometimes. I see the invites. The problem is most of the time I'm AFK or doing something else on my PC. Oh, now I feel tired. Now that I can just sit back and relax without exhausting more oxygen trying to speak. I'm starting to get sleepy all of a sudden. It's like when you come from the outside when it's very cold and it's warm inside, and suddenly for no reason whatsoever you just feel sleepy just because you switched from the cold into warm. It's like that. Speaking non-stop for 30 minutes. As a non-social person, mind you, I would prefer to keep my silence unless I have to. So speaking is me having to exert more effort than I used to. I was like, oh, I'm breathing. I'm breathing now. I should sleep. Okay, that's our exit. What floor are we on? I think someone said 192 I was. Need to speed up. Ah, cool, that's fine. Okay, let's go east first, as usual. See, this is the perfect spot for a mimic chest. This is where I'd expect it to be. Interesting, there's none. This wall as well. It's perfect for a mimic chest. Okay, we are entering speedrun mood. Okay, that's our exit. I just need to find the key. I hope it is not towards the western path that I completely ignored. We'll be ignoring some enemies. Just to speed things up. Strength Dex, that looks pretty good. It's just if rarity was 5 with the extra perks, then it would be usable. It's not usable in its current state. And safely we get along because along their cause. I'm honestly like this most of the time. Am I missing something? You asked about the floor and the game showed you, but yeah, I know. I was pretty certain that was 192 at that point, so that's why I didn't even bother looking at it. Like, I had zero doubts in my mind, so I didn't feel the need to actually look at it. But thanks for confirming I was right. I already knew it though. Big brain. What's PewDiePie doing these days? It's been years since I didn't watch him and I'm subscribed to him. Is he no longer publishing any videos? Like the big brain mention immediately brings me to him to my mind. No clue why, but what is he doing? Anyone watching PewDiePie? Anyone following what he's doing? I think last I watched anything, he settled into Japan, and that was it. I not hear anything since. Why is YouTube not showing me anything from him? Take care, Dragon Demon. Ah, I see, Thunder. How'd you feel about a Dynasty Warrior style SAO game? If it's a good game, I'll like it. If it's not, I will criticize what I find criticizable. I think that was a question last week. Someone asked me, was it you, Colin? Asking me about what type of SAO game I would want. Now my answer is, I don't care what style it is. I am mainly here for the story anyways, but I would expect... Like, I would adapt to different styles, no problem. And I will enjoy it. I just need it to be a decent implementation, and as long as it's decent, it has my blessing. Regardless of what style it is. Oh, was someone else? Fine. To be honest, I'll play an SAO game as long as it's fun, as long as it has good story, I'll happily play it. Pretty much. I'll play it if it's not fun as well. And then I'll complain about it. Because, you know, that's kind of my job. But yeah, I'm generally in the same mindset. Nice key, and we have our exit over there. My friends feel sad for me when I talk about Fractured Daydream because I've complained about it so I mean, if you let it consume your personal life, I think there is something to be said, sure. But you know, for me, it's literally directly relevant to my channel and the things I'm doing, whether I'm showing anything on YouTube or not. It is valuable personally as a skill set, as a community-oriented person, to spend my time with these things, gauge opinions, look around in different places, provide feedback, provide solutions, how to approach certain things, social media stuff. It's all part of my professional education and future as well. If it was my personal life, I would probably approach it differently. Like, something you hate or criticize all the time shouldn't be your personal life, I think. Like in personal life, if you don't like something, you just move on. Like, you have literally nothing to gain from it. I have to say, I don't quite understand that gamer instinct of spending 10,000 hours, complain, yet be willing to spend another 10,000 hours. Like, my mind doesn't compute the logical procedure to come to that conclusion. Oh shit, we're confused. Confusion is the worst effect in this game. It's so annoying. When I still somehow working laptop and no money, I probably won't play any SAO games anytime soon. I like following what's up with games. Time before Fractured Daydream and Premiere were awesome. Also, I don't play much single player games because these days anyways, but that may be because all I play are free. I can barely read at this point, I'm sorry. It's tiring to stream. These tend to be, yeah, understandable. I hope you're ready for floor 200. I am, but it's not gonna be today. Our goal today was 200. We are not gonna step beyond. Oh, let's not fall down here. Exit crystal. Where? Oh, that way. Fucking hell. Confused again! Go away, butterflies. Oh, they're actually still chasing. I mean, if there are still things you enjoy about it, that's not what I'm talking about. Like, that there are people specifically hate playing, and sadly, I feel like a lot of the gaming community falls into this. Sadly, we live in an age where rage gets internet visibility, where people are just hate playing things. Like, they don't hate playing something, they are literally picking something to hate play. So annoying. It's not just games, it's any kind of media at this point that's popular because it gets them views. As long as it's popular, that's literally the requirement for it. I know, man, do something with your life. If you still enjoy something, that's perfectly fine. There are a lot of things, there can easily be a lot of things that you don't like in something you enjoy. That's normal. That's not what I'm referring to. Tried to evade that, but completely failed. Try again. Failed again. Good job. Good job, me. Yeah, that's basically my entire experience with Destiny, for example. A majority of Destiny players are in the same boat as well. It's literally a common meme where you just say you hate Destiny, it's your favorite game. And I'll be perfectly honest, like in the past 10, maybe we can go up to 15 years. It's the live services, sadly, that made that kind of approach much more common. Because of how their design is overall structured, they want you to play them all the time. But that brings such a dynamic to the player-game relationship that I don't think is healthy, and it's getting pushed in all the wrong directions in the past decade as well. Where you need to make that game an actual part of your life, and it's definitely not affecting people in a healthy way. Okay, 197. Do I want to go there or do I want to go there? We go there. East first. Oh, so like League of Legends, Valorant and so on, where they say they hate it, then log in every day? Kinda, sorta. PvP games have a much different dynamic as well. Like, your enjoyment of a PvP game, how much you actually like a PvP game, is separate from your moment-to-moment feeling. Because, you know, when you lose a stupid game in League of Legends, I play League of Legends daily as well. With a friend from SAO here. When you lose a stupid game, it does pain you quite a fair bit. Like, you're like, we shouldn't have lost this. What a stupid team. Oh my god, jungle has no brain, top has clearly no thumbs, and all those kind of stuff. You know, that's just a reactionary emotion. It does not reflect how you feel about the game in general. So that's an entirely different dynamic as well. There we go, that's our key. Wait, wasn't that the exit? I saw the exit. No, I didn't. Ah. What the? Head side. Oh, there it is. It's quite farther away. Is there something supposed to happen on the floor 200 boss? Now you're making me worry about it. We'll see about that. We'll see. How hard can it be? In typical Jeremy Clarkson fashion. I see the Reaper cheating, just going over empty area. Damn you, Reaper! Okay, we have some strong opinions about the floor 200 boss, apparently. We'll see about that. We'll see. I'm a professional gamer. What do you mean I'm still under attack? I'm literally killing everything. Nothing is chasing me. Screw you, game. Ooh, that's a very nice. I wish it had 5 stars. What would be the next perk? That really does look good from a stat standpoint. Oh wait, shit, I don't have a key yet. Why am I rushing towards the exit? Because that's gonna be the key, right? That is going to be the key, right? 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 I feel emotional pain. It'll be fine, it'll be fine. Take chest. Actually, I'm gonna do it for level. This is literally the last chest in the entire area. It'll be fine, it'll be fine. You're worrying too much. As I nervously grind XP just to get 1 extra level. On 99, final floor before it. Regen max SP, no thanks. They're not dropping a lot of XP, are they? Despite my double XP chain at the moment. Oh, there we go, that one dropped like 15k. And that's a fake chest. We're gonna open it for the XP. That was good XP. That was also good XP. 15, 16k. Jesus. Okay, we see the exit. We still have no key. When my double circular gets to 3 stars, I think I'm gonna have a lot easier time. I'm already having a decent enough time at the moment. But the moment it gets to 3 stars, I think I'm basically set for life. There we go, that's our corridor key, that's our exit. So quickly make a dash towards it, and that's our floor 200 boss. And we snag one last level before going up as well, which is good. Let's see what this thing is about. I think you guys are exaggerating, we'll be fine. Yeah, so far so good. Jesus! What is that damage? Dude. Someone revive me. Adam? Anyone? Anyone? Thank you, Premier, finally. Kismet is down, that's a bit of a problem, but Kismet is immortal. Oh shit, that's not the revive button. I need to get Premier up because she has a timer. Yeah, just follow me, follow me, follow me. Premier, can you get the res? Or at least heal me or something. I don't know what to say. How far back did that take me? Do I still have access to I lost the entire progress of this stream because I didn't back out. Well, 1, lesson learned. 2, fuck this entire shit. 3, I will be more prepared next time because now I know what I'm facing. I just need to dodge. What the fuck? Well, that's it for today. That's for sure. I will see you all tomorrow with less disappointment, I hope. 2.5 hours completely gone down the drain because of that. Wow. Take care, bye bye.